Rahubat. Rahubat Antkum. Rahubat. Long time. It's been a minute. But we back. You remind yourself or you're not gonna pay attention?
You can mod it. Oh,
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. How are y'all today? How y'all lovely people doing? This will be on YouTube, but for the sake, I want to get a little bit more people in here, give people a chance to get in before I start to speak. We're going to be doing a lot of writing in real time because we're going to be talking about some rules. What are these called? English, please. Prefixes, suffixes, verbiage, and just all the rules that go into speaking, reading, and writing Nuwaupuyee. Because once you get the rules down, it's pretty simple. Then you can use any word how you want to use it. I hope y'all don't hear my phone recording. But the word that we're going to be using so conveniently to start off or to explain this is the one that everybody, and I know you can't see this, I know you can't see it, it's a pencil. But to explain it, we're going to use the word rahubat, which by now most people should know. Yeah, everything goes to the message requests. So if I haven't accepted it, or if I've spoken to you and it went back to being a request, that's the reason why. So I'll have to contact you after the live. But everything is a request. I'm trying to figure out if I will be able to use a pen or if I have to resort to using a Sharpie. But that's another thing as well. You're not, the way it was explained to me when I came into Right Knowledge and was learning how to speak Sabaic, but we're not on that right now, is everything is supposed to be written in pencil. It wasn't explained why, though. And then you're also supposed to write a certain way. What is B? Oh. But for the people who got the file, how is that holding up? Because I did some moving around. Some people have already DM'd me because they noticed that the link that I initially sent out no longer works. It's because I was moving some things around. So if you need the file again with all the language material, DM me and I'll get it back to you, or I'll get it to you after the live. So like I said, for people still filing in, we're basically going to be talking about rules of Nuwaupuyee versus vocabulary or anything like that, because once you get this three-part root rule down, everything else you could like basically go however you want to go with it. Yeah, this is not Faise. Faise don't wear nails. I hope not. And it's not backwards. So, to get into the explanation, the three-part root of every or almost every Nuwaupuyee word. So rahubat is a verb and it's plural. So to break that down, we have ra or re, he, be. Re, soft he, and be. And this is to greet. Maybe I can just write in straight pen. So, re, he, and be make up the root, the three-part root of greetings or to greet. Probably should have written that. Where are we going to write it at? Rahubat, greetings, and the three-part root here is going to be re, he, and be. Now, another picture. For that, you have that double A. I don't know if I should read. So with this, you can do anything. Now, what I mean by that is you have ra, and since that's a soft H, you would put that apostrophe there. And that's rahub, and that's what I'm talking about with the to greet. You're just saying greet. So he greets, hu rahub, or, I did that wrong. Greeting. So whenever you have this three-part root, you can add either an A or a U for whatever it is that is going to be applying. Use denote that you are doing something. A would mean that you were just making a statement. So with that rehebe, rahab would mean by itself greet. Rahub would mean to greet. So that you is always going to mean that you're doing something. It's a verb. And so when you want to make it plural, it would be rahabat. And that would be greeting or greets, but not greets in a way where you are like a statement. So the way that you would get rahubat using all these rules would be, you have the 3-part root. I don't even know why I put this there. But this re, this he, which is the soft H down here, and the be. If you wanted to just say a word and it's a noun, that would be a double A. If you wanted to say a word and it's a verb, but you're saying like simply to do something, that would be the adding the U. The U would be to something. And then whenever anything is plural, you would add that double A at the end. So we have rahub, and that already tells you, oh, my bad. That is bad. You know you have a plan in your head and it all goes left? It's okay, we're adults. I'm not gonna talk. Talking's throwing it off. There are other suffixes, but I'm not going to worry about that right now. Because just like in English, you have the suffix ending in ly, you have a suffix ending in the way that I know it in the language. I'm trying to figure out how to explain it. But it's me. You have le, you have me. Oh, mul, full, grateful. But that wouldn't be that grateful. And it's happening again. So should have wrote it in red, but I'm gonna underline the things that are suffixes. And I should have put this in blue because you change these out, or you can change them out. And then the things in black are gonna be the roots. They were in the notebook the whole time. Like, I knew I wrote down my own vocabulary list. So we're not just working with this word, and you could have other examples. But like I was trying to explain as I was writing it, every word, or almost every word in Nuwaupuyee has a 3-part root. And once again, just to give myself my ups, if you want to DM me and get the folder, it's a Google Drive, and it's highly encouraged that you save the files to your own Google Drive if you have it, or your OneDrive if you have Hotmail or some other cloud where you're easily able to access it. But it's a Google Drive with a bunch of material, so scrolls from Dr. Malachi Z. York, and language books that have to do with Nuwaupuyee, not Sabatia, for the ones who are in here thinking that we're on Sabatia. You can DM me and I will get them to you after the live. But for now, because it's already given to you as a greeting, we're going to be working with greetings. And you already have a 3-part root in there with Rahub. You have the Re, the He, and the Be. And this is what's not going to change. So no matter what usage you're using it in, this 3-part root will never change. The suffixes to say that you did something in past or you already did something. So you would say Rahuba, which means greeted. You already did it. And then another suffix to say greetings, like how you have it in the Rahub at, is AAT. So anytime you add a at the end of a thing, it's pluralized. So one example would be like for houses. I don't know the word for home right off the top of my head, but Kalan. Kalan is house in Nuwaupuyee. And if you wanted to say houses, you would say Kalan at, which would just be houses. What is the word for walk? What's another verb we could use? Breath. That's very important. You need that. There's another thing. I want to throw that in there because it was given to me. There's a prefix. That's a little advanced. Not advanced, but ta. This doesn't apply to Rahubat unless you want to say Grecians. I don't even know how that would work. But if you ever had a word that had ION, anything ending in ION would start with a ta. And then there's a whole rule with that where, what is a word that I can use? Oh, perfect. Create. So like creation. Would be ooh, that's not even the right thing. Maybe we should put another piece of paper. One thing I didn't want to do, It's not even just Nuwaupuyee. Any language that has to do with, that was given to the masses from the master teacher, Dr. Malachi York. And this is where I didn't want to keep having multiple pieces of paper, but having an example. Well, repetition is key. So, like I was saying, when you have, I wanted to try to keep it simple, but at the same time, it's like, give the people what they want, give the people what they need. The focus was to let you guys know that when it comes to writing or any word, that you have a 3-part root. But since we already know Rahubat, can you well, no, well, you're on your computer, can you open up the files? Do you have the files on the computer?
Which one?
The books that I sent to you. We're gonna ignore the last word. But kind of not, because we're just gonna write it out here. So that last word on the other piece of paper was creation. Started with that's fine. Talk. You know when you guys start to look at a word for too long and it don't even look like a word no more? And then the language is always changing. So if you have the books and it's another word for create, that's fine because it's still going to stand. Gawa-a. Gawa. Create. Gawa. Gawa'a is created. Because it's past tense. Creating would be gawa. And you always want to exaggerate that. So when you're speaking, it's not hard to understand. And it's okay to speak slow. You don't have to be proficient in something in a day. Clearly. Look at me. That's because I'm actually explaining it to somebody versus learning it for myself. And English is not Englishing today. We should do that one next. But our 3-part root is never going to change. That's what the X's are. Gawa from here. Just want to make sure I'm getting the right letter. Soft H. And soft G. And then creates. I'm even gonna watch this back and be like, what? And I just gave that incorrectly. Dang. That's good though. That's good. Okay. So I guess something, like I said, breathing is very important. Everybody knows that. So whenever you have a double A, that's going to be within itself a noun, or when you have a noun. But when you start to take things out of what it is when it's just a concept, I would say, that's when you would start to use the you, because you're doing things. I don't know if I wrote that on another piece of paper, but you're never going to really use a double A unless you're stating something. Something that is. And so like we have here, we have breath, but you don't say breathed. You don't say breathing. You don't say breaths. Yes, you do. Breathes. Same thing. But we're going to work with this. You don't say breathshin. Breathshin. Anyway. So the 3-part root for that is going to be And I just lost it. So we have our khe, our a, and it's going to be khayai. And it's not khayay or khayay, it's khayai. If you've ever, I think I've explained this in the first lesson, maybe. Yeah, because I was writing out the letters. I'm Russian. When I was explaining the letters, everything does have a proper sound. And so it's not going to immediately correspond, or it's not going to be like in English. That's funny. So Spanish, French, German, any of these, what is it, Latin-based languages, that A is not ah. It's ah. I don't even know what word to use as an example for that. But how you would say A or ah in another language would be using the E. Let me finish this, because this is how I get sidetracked. We have our kha. We have our ye. It's not ya or y or how you would say it in English. And then we have our ye. So khe, not ke. I never want to sound like a drill sergeant. But ke and khe. Where's my... I wonder if that's what you guys are going to be hearing a lot. Where's my this? Where's my that? But I have papers. And they're not in like a binder or anything. And just the other day, I was touching them. So something is not where I put it last. And it's right in the face. Ta-da! Our little alphabet list. Hopefully it doesn't get distracting or confusing flipping through all these pages. But thank God nothing is mirrored today. But where's my phonetic one? Where's my this? Where's my that? This is fun though. Once again, it's right in my face. Yeah, you can't see that. I mean, you can, but you shouldn't have to strain your eyes. Let me use another one. Practice penmanship. Anywho, I'm really excited. So I'm a little jittery. But this is our ah. How can I say this? Ah, like you're opening your mouth real wide. If you've ever been to the dentist and they're like, oh, no. And then this is really more of an accent. So maybe when we get to like the hard letters, I'll come back to this. I'm not gonna make a line over that. But these are consonants, and so that's when the eh comes in. So this is not B. This is be. And I hope you can read that. Bees are not like other bees. Maybe I shouldn't write in my handwriting. But this is be. We have our a, we have our be. This is the C equivalent, but it's not C. It's k. And because of that, I'm gonna write. So this is our soft K sound. Just like a C is the soft K sound in English. But this is ke. This might have needed to be its own lesson, but it's okay. And then this is a combination sound. Just like we have CH in English, this is going to be che. This is our CH sound. Che. We have 3 different D sounds in Nuwaupuyee, but the most prominent one that you're going to be seeing is this one. And even though the khe is in the way, de. So this is a hard, regular, commonly used sound, de. So you're getting a little refresher with the letters as well. But we're going to get back to these roots or rules. This one throws me off. This is the Nuwaupuyee alphabet that I have multiple drafts of, but it's okay. This sound is going to be a combination of a D in English and a Z in English. So however you manage it, ze. So it's a DZ sound. DZ. Ze. It's not a regular de and it's not a Z by itself. Similarly, this is not just a regular D sound. This is a combination of D and J. So more, I'm not going to give no examples. Ze. If you were reading it or writing it, you would be able to tell the difference. Phonetically, like I said, is this kind of like a combination of D and J. I know, right? I know. But back to vowel sounds or something that would be familiar. We have an E sound, and it's just going to be eh. It's not E. We have an I, and that would be E. Try to get there when we get there. We have an F sound, and it's going to be fe, and there's only one F. Here we have our 2 different, the beginning, or maybe you're talking about 2 different things, but this is like the 3rd lesson, and don't worry, it's kind of messy, but the first 2 are on the Phase 1 Live Archive page on YouTube, just like that. Phase 1 Live Archive. And it should be a picture of Phase 1. And there's a bunch of videos. Not every video, but most of them or some of them. This is our G sound. But in Nuwaupuyee, we call it a ge. This is our combination G sound, which is re. So if you try to combine the sounds of a G and an H, you get g, h. But you wouldn't chop it up like that. You get re. And you would have to roll it like that. It's more guttural. Guttural, or it comes from the back of your throat, like you trying to do that thing that people do. But it's re. we have two H sounds. One is more breathy than the other. This is our soft H and our hard H, or the H that you would regularly hear. But this is he and he. I don't even know how to really explain that, but it has an apostrophe with it, so you know it's the soft H. And no, you don't. This is not the one that you see in the Rahubat. You see this one in the Rahubat, which we'll get to. This one is the I sound. You don't really see this. E, E, E. Because it's not really an I. But this is the I. I don't know if I should put this here. It's the I. But it's pronounced E. We have our J, which is J. K sound. K. Which is regular K. So whenever you see this letter, just know that it's not this. This is not that. This is not that. But we have K and we have K. This is our combination K sound. Che. And I guess you would say that this sound is harder than re. This is che and this is re. Le, me, ne. We have our O sound, which you don't really see until you get to fruit or food, and that is O, which will be another lesson. It won't be messy. This is our P sound, which is pe. This is a controversial letter. Now, when you see the name how would you pronounce that? Pata or ta? Or how did your Umi say to pronounce it?
PTH. Ta or fata.
Foot.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like foot.
Mm-hmm. The P would be the F.
Mm-hmm.
The T. But it's like 40 ways to say ta.
There's 40 ways to say ta.
That's where they get all the names of God. J-O, Dao, T-O, Todi, Theo.
It's how it's like.
Tafu.
So like I said, this is a controversial letter, but for common sake, we're gonna say put, and that's what this is. Put. I don't know why I wrote a put. Put. And you really only see this when it comes to regular nouns. Or what did I say earlier? Proper nouns. Proper nouns meaning names or titles of beings, or the neteru. And we're not going to stay on here for much longer, but I had a point I'm trying not to get away from. This is our Q sound, and for people who aren't that familiar, you really only get that qua sound like in queen or quest or question when it's a combination of QU in English. But anywhere else that you see a Q in the English language is So, you know how people sound stuffy when they're sick? And you can't you can't really talk and you're talking like this. Not a country person, but like you just sound nasally. So it's like a nasally K, if I was trying to explain it. But it's coming from the back of your throat. It's not really guttural. It's more otolaryngerical. It's coming from the back of your throat. So, and you kind of see that in the letter itself. Imagine this line is your throat, and then in this little space in your whole throat, that's when you're going to imagine or visualize that sound coming from. But we have re. 4 different sounds for sa. This is our hard se. This is our soft se. So this is se, and this is se. Not too much emphasis. Not too much, not too much. This is our she, our SH combination sound. Literally, the only example I have to give for this one is like school. But that sound. So, sk. But it's not SK, it's SCH. This is sk. So we have se, she, and sk. We have our hard T, which is te. We have our soft T, not too much. Te. And this is our combination TH sound. Fe. This one can be a little controversial in terms of phonetics when it comes to either Nuwaupuyee, Sabatia, Nubek, however you're learning a language, because some people pronounce it separately, but it goes together, but it's separate, but it go together. So, teha, but for all intents and purposes, for this moment, it's the. This is our U sound, which is in the word rahubat. Ooh. This is our ve. This is our we. And the way you see it written here versus where you might see it written in other places, think about it like penmanship. Some people Some people, I'm trying not to make it dirty. People write it how they write it. This is an X sound, so I don't really know, because in other languages, this can make so many sounds. But in English, this is an X, so x. Well, in English, you have a lot of blended sounds, so that's how they that's how they try to equivalate learning or creating the light language and translating it to English, literally translating it to English, which one of my teachers said, you're not supposed to do that. You're not translating anything. You're equivalating a meaning. So you just wouldn't say translate. I forget how they put it right now, but it's like forbidden to say translate because you're not translating anything. Finishing it out. Yeah. Got some water on the paper. Yeah, and 3 different kinds of ze. This is our regular ze. This is our combination, and the rest of these are combinations. This one is a ZD, whereas we had a DZ up here. You have a ZD here. So this would be ze. And this would be ze. And then this one is a ZH. So it's like a breathy Z. Ze. Ze. What do you mean by do you have to put the H at the back of it? Like when you're writing it phonetically? I would say, for all intents and purposes, since this is like introductory, I would put it there. Unless you're able to remember. I mean, nobody's going to be looking at your notes but you. So I would say yes, add it for now. And then like I said, for this one, like in the word ashuk, you have these vowel sounds that you're adding that guttural tone to it. And that's where this would come in. This accent is not really a letter. You would see it behind other vowels. A, E, O, U, and not sometimes Y, because Y has one sound. But this would make a regular A, which is what you really see it behind a lot of times, but you do see it behind other vowels. So this would be A. If you put this accent behind the E, it would be I. If you put it behind the O, it would be O. So you're adding that guttural tone behind whatever vowel sound that you're making. So like I said, in the word ashuk, and I'm going to write it on this paper because this is a draft. Our word for divine love and you have two guttural tones because ashuk. That would be I was like, where's the SH? Shook. I shook. I missed something. When you're writing it, yes. Now, yeah, for other iterations, it goes left to right. But for Nuwaupuyee, it does go right to left, just like in English. So you don't have to worry too much about that. It goes from right to left. So I don't even know what to call this. It's just an accent. And I wrote it incorrectly. Pretend this is that. No, don't do that. And we will get into sentences and structuring and more of these prefixes, suffixes later on. But there just haven't been classes in lieu of the 11th book coming out, which you can still donate to Play for Change on Cash App and get, because it is out. The 11th book is dropped. But that was like the main focus. 12th one's on the way. Oh, I see that question. Okay. Ooh, that is getting into a little bit of sidetracking. But the heart upside down, which you can read about, or the inverted heart, we say that it symbolizes, since it's divine love, and to say something is divine would mean like highest of highs, or it's not really, it's supposed to be love beyond love. So the highest form of love is up there. And so that's why you want to point the point of the heart in that direction. So if anyone has ever seen the inverted heart around and you're like, why is it upside down? It's not supposed to be like think of it like an inverted cross. If Christ is supposed to be like in a T shape and you invert it, you're kind of flipping the meaning. But because this is the highest form of love, it's divine love, it's what the universe is made out of and is run off of, you want to signify that by facing it. I didn't want to say pointing it, but facing it in that direction. And so that's why the heart is inverted, not upside down, but inverted. And there's supposed to be like some perverse reasoning behind the shape of the initial heart in the first place. And so we want to flip that too. Nothing is being perverted. We're coming out of the red, rising into the green. But that was the letters. And the reason why I even brought that up is to come right back to our 3-part root with the word breathe. I was trying to explain the difference in the sounds for k or ke and che. But the word for breathe in Nuwaupuyee, or is this breath? I get mixed up with it. But the E at the end or not the E at the end. Breathe. To breathe is chaye. Chayai. Chayai. Or how would you say it? Chayai or chaye? Because we talked about this earlier with the ye and the ya. Ah. It's an ah, so you're going to pronounce it like a ah. Chayai. I don't see everything because I'm not looking at the screen, so I do apologize about that. But like I was explaining from the beginning, you have 3 different forms that I'm going to be explaining today. You have the 3-part root, which is the consonants, I guess you would say, and they are never going to change. And then everything after that is not interchangeable. It's just like saying when you're given a word, it would be double A to say that you're stating that this is a word by itself. You're not using it. It's not in any particular form. And then every moment after that, you use a U. So you start off with chayai, and that means breathe. Now, with that 3-part root, and now you're adding it or saying that it's to something. So, chayu is to breathe. Ooh. I'm gonna run out of space, but it's okay. When you type it, don't hit send, because that's not how you do it. You type it and then you keep it there in the box. How do you say it like that? Box. But you have the root, 3-part root, and then you're changing that A, that initial A to a U. You're saying to do something. Now, create or breathed, breathed, English. saying that something is in past tense, you would add an a at the end. So this chayu would become chayua. You breathed. Maybe you should put that plus an A at the end. That's what I was supposed to be doing. Breathed. So if you're reading, writing, and you're seeing that something ends in an A, and you know that that's not that's not a part of the 3-part root, you don't throw it away. You just know that it's past tense. And then to say that you are breathing, it's verbiage. You would add that double A. So we have our 3-part root. Double A anything, and this is never going to change. So whenever you see something with a double A, it's never going to have a W. Not a W. It's never going to have a W. It's never going to have a double O or E sound. It's always going to be a double A. So chayu would be chayu. And that means breathing. So taking it back to rahubat, because that's what we all came in with. One of the first words that we were given is how you greet somebody, literally greet, rahub or rahab. It was supposed to go based off of that. So we have rahab or rahub, and that means to greet. And since we have this double A here, you already know that you're doing something. It's ing, it's a verbiage. And then I didn't really clearly explain this, or if I did, to the ones that were here. Anything that has a double AT at the end is plural. So my example was house versus houses. Kalan, kalanat. Creates, gawan or gawa, gawu, gawuat. Creates. I didn't write it because it kind of didn't make any sense in the tense, because you have breathe and you have breath. Breath would be chayuat, breaths. So you're pluralizing it. Anything with an A or a double A and a T at the end, or at, is plural. And so we have ra, re, a. So like I said, you're doing something. It's a verb. You have our soft he, u, be, a, te. Hard T, not a soft T. But that 3-part root that is never going to change is going to be re, ha, re, he, be. So you can have re, he, be, and you know that it's to greet. But it would only be to greet if you put the U there instead of the A. Otherwise, it would just be rahab, and that would mean greet within itself. But now that we know the rest of these rules, you can say, well, it's there already, but ra, rahab, or rahub. Did that wrong. Let's pretend I wrote this correctly. Rahub would mean greeting. Because now you take that 3-part root, you add that double A, with this janky ooh, and you know that it's an ing. You're doing something. You're greeting. And then with the re, oh, re, oob. Ooh, my bad. Rehuba. Dang. It means you greeted. So you still have that 3-part root. But now the only thing that you're adding, the suffix, is the a, and that would denote the past tense. So you have your present tense, your future tense, and your past tense. And exactly. On that note, I am gonna leave it there, and this was impromptu, so that's why it's kind of messy and all over the place. But I do appreciate everybody that tuned in. But I just wanted to get this out because every lesson going forth is going to be jumping into these rules. So we have our 3-part root. We have our denoting that it's ing, and then you have your ed. So thank you very much. Tao tak, tao kum, tao at. Any last minute questions before we roll out of here? And I hope there are some questions because I know some of this didn't make no sense. But you can also DM me for the Google Drive that has all the language material that I basically teach from. Yes, Tua. Yes. The fasting is supposed to be regularly on Sundays and Wednesdays. It hasn't really been promoted. And I probably wasn't even supposed to say anything. But it was mentioned in a live, which you can see on the live archive. So I'm going to talk about it. But yeah, Sundays and Wednesdays, that's when the regular fasting is supposed to be going on. So if you haven't been doing it, don't beat yourself up because there's always next week. And this coming Sunday, because today is Wednesday. Anything else? Otherwise, we're going to get out of here and you guys can have your... No. Not Sunday to Wednesday. Sundays and Wednesdays. Sundays and Wednesdays. So that would be turn of day, that's what I call it, or midnight of Tuesday. So midnight, that's when the fast starts for either that Sunday or that Wednesday. Officially until the turn of day of the next day. You can DM me, I think, about the pronunciation, because I know that's been like kind of all over the place. Otherwise, I'll do like a separate video and get to use this equipment on this, because I know that is very important. I am such a hammer and a stickler for pronunciation, and you always want to be able to tell either what's being communicated verbally or what you're reading. Yeah. That's why I don't get too hung up on the pronunciation, because some things sound so similar, like the ZD and the DZ. So it's like you got to practice that. But feel free to DM me about that. And I'm going to let y'all go. Tao kum. I don't know how to say tuning in, but Tao kum shalal tuning in. Thank you for tuning in, and we will catch you tomorrow, actually, for the women that is in here. Real quick, one more thing. For the sisters that are in here, we're supposed to be doing like a talk platform or a safe space or like Women Thursdays. So tomorrow, if Faise isn't doing anything, we should get started on that. We already got a few questions, but if you have topics that you want to discuss as a woman, coming to you as a woman, and you just have things that you want to talk about, whether it's related to community, myself, or you just want to have a talking space where you're able to communicate with other women about certain topics that you want to know more about, topic, then that'll be on Thursdays moving forward. And that'll be a little bit more regular than language classes, because language classes has to do with planning and lessons plans and all this other stuff versus just turning on the camera and doing all that other jazz. But it's all cool. I'm gonna head out. Thank you guys for tuning in, and Wadu, have a lovely evening. Peace.